Welcome, everybody. I'm Doug Piper. I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, in the USA. This is our 61st Gourmet Brewing event, and it's quite a worldwide audience. I've seen all kinds of countries there in the chat. I see Bellbrook, Ohio, in the USA. Let's see, Syracuse, New York, in the USA. Dude from Belgium. Some others, Lake Zurich, Illinois. We've got folks from all over, and I so appreciate you joining us today. I hope everybody is staying well and safe, and it looks like 2020 is well behind us, and 2021 is off to a much better start. And I'm glad you took time today to join Gourmet Brewing, where we try and make your day more delicious, one sip at a time. So I've really been excited about this event. It's been in the works for a few months, and so this event is behind the scenes at Duvel from Antwerp, Belgium. So let me bring our guests on, and hopefully I will be successful with that. And looks like their camera is coming on momentarily. Aha! Welcome, gentlemen. How are you today?
Hi, Doug. We are doing really great, and thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, well, I've really been looking forward to this. And I'm just so excited. We've got a huge audience for you guys today. It looks like it's approaching 500. So
yeah,
this is a great, and it's for folks all over the world, but they don't know who you are yet, and I'm going to try my best to pronounce your names correctly, but you may have to repronounce them once I try. So on the left side of my screen, we have Sven Dekleermaeker. I didn't really do that. I kind of. So we'll try it again. Sven Dekleermaeker.
Sven Dekleermaeker, but it's really good.
You're so kind. And we have Luke re-fermentation.
Yeah, almost perfect.
Almost perfect. You guys are very kind, but that's the way it is. Because we're all having beer tonight. We're going to have some really delicious beer, and it's just going to be fun. So Luke and I cooked this up a few months ago, and thanks to his efforts, this is really being happened. So Luke, I so appreciate your initiative and your efforts to bring this great programming to Gourmet Brewing. So thank you, my friend.
No, it's my pleasure. I like to talk about beer. I like to talk about Belgian beer. I like to talk about Duvel. Sven was willing to play the game, so it's going to be a perfect evening.
Well, that's how we make a good team.
Exactly.
Well, let me introduce who we're talking to today, because we've got some really special folks. We have Sven Dekleermaeker. No, I didn't do it well. Master's in Bioscience Engineering in Food and Chemistry. He did his thesis at KUL Laboratory for Malting and Brewing Sciences. He's been at several Belgian breweries before he joined Duvel Moutgaard. From 2016 on, he's fulfilling the role as site manager at the brewery at Duconic in Antwerp, where they also have, and I want to get into this, and if we have time later on, they've got a bakery, they've got a butcher, a cheesemonger, and a chocolatier. And Sven is a knight of the Belgian Brewers Guild. So, wow. So we're going to move on to Luke, our friend Luke. He is the chief editor of Beer Grand Cru. He is the author of the Belgian Beer Book. And he's also been at several Belgian breweries, co-founder and director of the Brussels Beer Challenge. So quite an illustrious group that we've got here. Now, before we move on, I want to mention just a couple of things. If this is the first time that you've joined us, and maybe a large part of our audience has never joined us before, these are monthly free events. We had an event just last week with Dr. Charlie Bamsforth, and he was talking about nutrition in beer. Great event. Everybody that registers can get access to all those free events. And in these events, we talk to subject matter experts. This is our 61st free event, and that's because of supporters. This is all crowdfunded through Patreon, and there's a link there at the bottom center of the screen that if you click on that, you can learn more, and hopefully you can be part of supporting future events by buying me a beer. Some other cool things that we've got. In the upper right-hand corner, maybe about there is a follow button. If you click that, really nothing happens on your end. You're not going to get spammed or anything, but you will get notifications when these events go live. So if you don't happen to see the email, you can look down and go, oh, wow, one of the Crowdcast events that Doug is doing is going live. So it really helps that, and it helps attract guests because they look at that number, and the more people that follow it, the more apt we are to get great guests like Sven and Luke. We do have internet issues and so refreshing your browser most of the time will fix that. You can actually even reduce the resolution if you click on the gear in the bottom right-hand corner. I see everybody sharing in the chat where they're from, and I so appreciate that. This is also a networking event, so one of the best ways I've seen to do it is just post your LinkedIn link in there. So put that in there. Also submit questions. In the bottom center of the screen, looks like we've got 8 questions already, and we're going to go to those in the second half. And our next event, which is probably going to be in March, or I know it's going to be in March. We may have one in next week, but I'm still trying to narrow that one down. But we're going to continue our theme of Belgian beers, and it's going to be a very special treat indeed. Our friend Julia Hertz is helping us pull that event together. So with that, I want to bring our guest back on screen. There we go. And we're going to begin Duvel, the Devil in the Bottle, with Sven and Luke. I'm not going to ruin your last names again. So, gentlemen, thank you. This is so cool. So I want to hear about Duvel. Tell me, where are you right now?
So, at this time, we are in a cellar, a basement. How do you call it? A curfew? We are under a curfew because of Corona, and so we are in the basement. So it's a little bit like
we are hiding, actually.
Yeah, we are hiding.
It's like a speakeasy.
Yeah. It's really a speakeasy also here. But this place is so we are in the Koning Brewery in Antwerp, and Duvel Moordgat has. We call ourselves a family of breweries. So we have breweries in Belgium, 4 or 5 breweries, and then in US, we have in Czech Republic, Italy, Netherlands. And the Koning is one of the breweries in Belgium, making a beer you don't know in US, but nevertheless, we are in the cave here where we do some, let's say, barrel experiments. So you see the barrels behind us. So we do some barrel aging here with some under the sounds of Barry White, very important because it's barrel.
Maybe you can hear it, yeah.
Yeah, Barry White is still on it now, so that's very important. So we are now in the cave of the brewery, the Koning,
in Antwerp. Barry White cave.
People call it the Barry White cave, but in fact it's a brewer's cave.
It's a very nice place to be, and a very nice place to have a beer and to talk about beer.
Yeah, I see people there following us now. You can not read.
I can't read without my glasses.
But I see people who were here before from Brazil.
Oh, Diana and
and Fernanda.
And Fernanda, of course.
So if you come a day here in Belgium, in Antwerp, and then also in the brewery, because we are like an iconic brewery in Antwerp, you have to be here when you're going to Antwerp. Just tell us and we will show you the cave, because it's not a public place. But yeah, that's all about brewery the Koning. We are now talking about Duvel, so maybe that's another streaming.
Well, so we're in a place that the public doesn't get to go. Is that what we're seeing there?
Yes,
Exactly, yeah.
that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but you make a special exception if it's somebody that knows gourmet brewing. Is that right?
That's a keyword.
that
Actually,
that
the
or
first
Barry
word,
White.
Also important.
Well, great. We've got several beers, and I wanted to show everybody. I think I had maybe confused everybody a little bit because I thought that I could get the Cashmere, the triple hop Cashmere that we do have here, but we can't get it in the United States. But I'm fortunate enough to have one of them here. So for those of you that could not find it and you were looking and could not find it, my apologies to you. So I know we've got a short video on how to pour a beer. Do we want to start with that, or do you want to jump into a little history to help us maybe appreciate what goes into this beer first?
Yeah, it's like you wish. So maybe I can tell a little bit about Duvel Moordgat as a company. So like I told already, we are, let's say, we like to call ourselves a family of breweries. So it means that there are several breweries, but every brewery has its own identity. That's very important. Also, a lot of the founders of the breweries are still active in the brewery. They are part of the daily management, so that's important for us. And also, we like the brewery to be in operation. That sounds a little bit silly, but for example, the Koning brewery where we are now is only 25 kilometers from the main brewery of Duvel. It would be an easy thing to close down this. The production is not that big, and but we don't do that. We like to respect the tradition that there is, and we think that the location tells a lot about the authenticity and the origin of the beer. So we like that every brewery has its own specificities, and it stays like that. We don't have to change that, you know. That's very important for us. So I think when we call Duvel Moordgat a family of breweries, that's the right way to call it. Yes. Yeah.
And they have still a great reputation in Belgium. They are not small, they're not big, but everybody, beer lovers in Belgium, they still like a Duvel. It's like one of the icons of the Belgium brewing industry or brewing world. And like everybody, for me, it's like one of my safe beers. And if I go to a pub and the selection is very poor, there's always a Duvel. Yeah. And the Duvel will always be good.
Yep,
and that's I call it a safe beer. Whenever you drink it, the quality is excellent, and you will never be disappointed.
Thank you, Luc.
No, it's true. Come to Belgium, ask like 10 people who drink beer, and 9 of them will say the same, and the 10th one, I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
Well, and I appreciate the caution you guys are taking. We were laughing about earlier the quarantine and everything else, and I'm in a studio by myself, but you've actually got a partition between you and Luc, right, Sven?
Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't want the audience to think that you were being callous and not wearing a mask. That you've actually got a barrier between you, which I appreciate. We want to keep you guys safe.
Yeah. Yeah, we just follow the rules like they are. So this must be the ideal way to deal with this situation. Yeah.
So we can talk freely. We can see each other. So yeah.
All right. So I was thinking about zooming in on one of the bottles and talking about the label. Would that be a good place to start?
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to switch to the overhead, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about what's going on with this really intricate, beautiful label.
Yeah, I really like actually the subtitle. You have Duvel and you have Belgium Golden Ale, And actually, Belgium Golden Ale, we call it strong blonde. It's actually a beer style. And actually, the beer style is created by Duvel. If like another brewery try to make a Belgium strong ale, they take a Duvel and they try to copy it. It's really the icon of like the Belgium strong blonde ale. Sven is like,
Yeah.
but it's true, and it's really the style.
Yeah, so
It's really, yeah.
So I
It's really-
switched it to the bottle that you sent me. The one I had originally shown was one I purchased in the U.S.
Yeah.
So it is a bit different label.
Yeah, we just switched labels. So the bottle I sent you like 2 weeks ago, it's the new label, and you still have the old one. But it will come soon.
And so here on the back, is there a little more of a story to this?
Yeah. So we tell about on the labels we like to tell a story, and on this label we like to tell about the glass, the iconic glass, because in Belgium, maybe in US also, but in Belgium it's very important to serve your beer in the glass where in the appropriate glass. So every beer has this glass, more or less. And so we like to explain about the glass, which exists really a long time already. Some things changed, but not the shape. I'll tell you more about that later, maybe.
Actually, it's a crime. In Belgium, actually, it's a crime. You can go to jail if you are pouring a beer in another glass.
Yeah.
It's a crime in Belgium.
It's a crime, but it also doesn't taste like it should be when you pour it. When you pour a Duvel in a Pils beer glass,
Or
it doesn't taste like
yeah.
it should be. It's no joking. It really has to be like that.
Yeah, personally, I hate it. When I go to a crowded pub and the bartender is saying, "I'm sorry, sir, we don't have the right glass."
Yeah.
Then it's really like, I'm very disappointed. Okay, I will drink the beer because I like beer, but it's not the same experience.
Yeah.
Like a glass is part of the taste, of the culture, and of the overall experience. If you don't do it right, if you don't pour it right, if you don't do the glass freshware, it's not the same.
No, that's true.
And in Belgium, we are very, very strict in it.
Yeah.
And even like in the smallest pub in the middle of nowhere, we are demanding the bartender to serve the beer in the right glass.
Yeah, sure. And I see now, Doc, you had the glass in the picture. Maybe you can switch to your camera
yeah.
from above. I don't know how you call it. That we can see yes, that's it.
Perfect.
So I told that the glass, the shape was always the same, but some things changed, and one thing that changed is, I don't know if you can see it very clearly, but there is a D marked in it. It's in fact an engraved D. We started a long time ago. It was just, I think,
The scratch it, no?
a stripe,
scratch, yeah.
and then it was a round, and now with modern technology, we have a D. But
It's actually like champagne, they're also doing it.
yeah, that's it. So, but that's very important because we can see that later on. That's causing the stream of bubbles coming continuously up from the bottom of the glass to let's say feed the foam at every time. So that's very important, and that's also why we say that you have to have always a very clean. That's obviously a very clean glass when you serve the beer, but also a dry glass. Because a lot of people like to put the glass in a fridge, or they like when it's condensed and it feels like it shows
It's
like
frozen sometimes. Yeah.
yeah, frozen even. It shows that it's very fresh, but we don't like it because then the I don't know if it's the best word. The engravements are then filled up, and they will not do the things that they have to do, mainly
The lively carbonation. Yeah.
the carbonation, so the stream of bubbles. That's very important for a Duvel.
Actually, if you drink a Duvel, you will do it later, of course. You can really feel it in your mouth, on your tongue. it's no taste, but it's like a feeling. It's like drinking like less of champagne. If you drink a lot of champagne, you get like in your mouth. It's like joyful. It's like a party. If you drink a Duvel, you have a party in your mouth. Even without the taste, it's just a feeling.
I'm glad you're here, Luc.
It's like a ballroom, I think. Yeah.
Well, you guys were nice enough to supply me with a video. Do you want me to cue that up now?
Of course,
Sure. Yep.
All right. So 1 second, and hopefully that will all work successfully. All right, here we go. Let's try that again. I don't think it started at the right point, so let's kick that in again. Let's see, just 1 second. All right. No?
No problem, Doc.
So
I think I have a
can do it
proposition.
live, yeah.
I can do it myself, maybe.
All right. My apologies. That's bad. All right. Let's get you guys back on screen.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, it's no problem. Maybe I can show, because the video was starting like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Maybe I can show what the video was telling about.
Yeah, we can do it live.
Yeah. Look.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. So what we wanted to tell is that you always start with, of course, a clean and a dry glass, and I just explained why, because of the D engraved in it. And then, can I have the...
Of course, yeah.
It's not so easy with the screen. Okay, when you open the bottle, maybe you have to open your bottle close to the mic.
I will do it. Yeah.
You always have to hear the sound of an opening bottle, because...
It's like...
Yeah. Can you do it?
Of course.
I don't know if you hear.
I
can
love
hear
the
it.
sound.
Ah,
I
great,
love the
great.
sound.
If that's not there, then there's a problem, because there has to be a lot of CO2 saturation in it, so that's very important. Then we take the glass and we take it like in an angle of 45 degrees, and then we start pouring the beer, but really slowly, like this.
And never touch the glass.
Never touch the glass, because you don't know where the bottle has been before. And you pour it, and then after a while you put it a little bit up straight, and then you can play a little bit with the distance, like this, to make some foam. I exaggerate a little bit, but you do it in one time. You don't do like this and back, and so you do it in one time. And when you do it one time, I don't know if you can see it clearly, the beer has to be bright. If you do it in one time, then the yeast remains in the bottle, because, of course, it's a bottle-conditioned beer. We have a second fermentation in the bottle. If you don't do it like that, the yeast will come with it, and you will not have a clear beer.
Now.
So, yeah, that's
no.
it. If we like to have 1 centimeter still left in the bottle. If you want, because we like to have it, me personally, I like to have it like this, very clear, no yeast in the glass, all the yeast in the bottle. But if you like it in the bottle, you can swirl like this, and then I don't know if the camera can pick it up. I will try to put the rest of the bottle now in the glass, and you will see it like a cloud. and it seems like
it's very beautiful.
That's normal, but it's like so much work you cannot imagine. But I will try to do, and I will clean the glass. I don't know if we can see it.
Ah, perfect.
Do you see the cloud coming? That's the yeast.
I do.
Yeah. It's like a summer day when it's bright and shining, and suddenly there are clouds coming up and it starts raining.
Yeah.
Yeah, more or less.
Very important is that it's cloudy. Maybe I will talk more about that later, but it's very important it's cloudy. You can also have yeast that is flocculent, like we call it. So it are like particles, and you really see in spots where the yeast is. We don't like that.
Also, when you talk too much, take a sip.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Actually, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, so the pressure's on. Now after all these instructions, I've got to try and replicate it.
Exactly.
All right. So
I'm very sorry. So
we'll switch to the overhead. And by the way, notice what I got to open it with.
Whoa.
Wow. It's professional.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll.
Okay.
All right. So I want to get the mic close enough.
Okay. Now it's your turn. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
I'm curious for your pouring, Doug.
There we go.
That's a perfect start. That's a perfect start.
Yeah.
You have to admit.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to switch to the side camera.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do my best here.
Ah, great.
All right, let's see. Get it nice and focused. And we'll get it about there. All right. So, all right. 45, right?
Yep.
Okay. So coach me.
Yeah, you're doing
Okay,
perfect.
you're doing fine.
Yeah.
You're doing fine.
Not too fast.
No,
Yeah.
steady.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not too fast. Yeah. And then
now you can
glass,
play. Now you can play with it.
Yeah. Put the glass a little bit
Yes.
vertically. Yes.
What? Well, you are natural.
Yeah.
You are talented.
It's a natural born talent.
A natural born Duvel server.
Hey, I was coached.
Great.
Hey, this is quite good.
I'm going to switch it to that because I'm going to grab it in a second.
You're a wise man.
All right. So
Okay, now you
let's
have to
look at the head on that guy. Wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
That is
you see the
beautiful.
foam, the head, like the carbonation, the color.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'd try and get it overhead so everybody could see the density. Oh, very nice.
Yeah. That's a nice density. You know that, Doug, if you wanna have a good idea of the foam, you can also listen to it. Do you know that?
Oh, listen to it. Yeah.
If you listen
like a
to it,
seashell.
and if you don't hear too much, then that's a good sign. If you hear a lot of bubbling,
It's like
then it's
shrinking.
not a good sign.
And then we start to shrink and it disappears.
Yeah. So it's sometimes it's strange, but we brewers sometimes we listen to the foam, and that's a good let's say a parameter for the foam stability.
So I can see the nucleation point. I'll try and get in here as close as I can. How about that?
Yeah, you see the stream of carbonation going up. Yeah, now we see it's very good.
So that's important because, Duvel also is a highly carbonated beer. Yeah, that's good. That's a nice picture. Yes, that's it. So you have a continuously feed of the foam by the nucleation there in the bottom of your glass.
It's like actually it's supporting the foam to keep it stable.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
in 1 minute,
it's really holding its head.
Yeah. If the carbonation stream stop, the foam will collapse in like 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Or even faster.
Well, this is holding up quite well. So, cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
That is
nice.
so nice. That goes
Also,
down so easy.
Yeah.
And it's
uh,
9.5%?
Yeah.
no, 8.5.
8.5.
So the Duvel is 8.5 and the Duvel triple hop is 9.5.
Okay.
But actually, I'm glad you told this. It's easy going, and that's what I think about Duvel. And I told it many times. But for me, Duvel is the most simple, complex beer. If you're going to drink it, you're drinking it for it's so easy. It's going down very, very easy. You have a lot of taste. It's quite discreet. But the nicest thing is the balance. And the balance of the beer is almost perfect. And since it's perfect, it seems like it's simple. It's like Messi playing football. Everything does seem so simple. If I try to do it, I break my legs. And that's the Duvel. If you drink it, it seems so easy, but it's so good and so balanced. And that's for me, the secret of a Duvel. And okay, maybe some of the brewery will be like saying something more technically, but that's for me the secret of a good Duvel. And a lot of other breweries try to create a copycat of Duvel. And there are some good beers, I will admit it, but they never succeed because they never get the right balance. Anyway, I'm going to take a sip.
Yeah, so that's true what you're saying. I just add a remark from the production side.
Okay.
It's what you say is very true. It's like a simple beer, but complex in some way. But it's damn hard to make it. Really.
Actually, that's not my problem.
So the simplicity of the beer, it's really a neutral beer. But that's a parameter, a nice thing, but it's also a difficult thing to make it because of the fact it is so, let's say, I call it always like a pure beer. It's very pure, clean. There are no things hiding off flavors. It's like you taste it, and when it's getting too old, you will taste it. But when the beer is fresh, you have the extreme and well experience that you have, but there is no camouflage, you know. And that's the biggest problem and the biggest challenge to make this beer.
And sometimes I compare it like, okay, it's like not the best to compare, but with a German Pilsner. Like a German Pilsner can be like clean, easygoing, discreet, but also good.
Yeah.
And that's for me like a fresh Duvel has the same experience, the same sensation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for me like, if you brew, some beers are more complex, other beers are more like, okay, more in your face or whatever, but Duvel is like, discreet, clean, and balanced.
Yeah.
But almost to a perfect level. Sometimes too perfect.
Okay.
Sorry.
I wanted to ask about the date code. That comes up usually quite a lot. So this looks like February. So this was brewed in this month?
No, it's it has 18 months of shelf life. So that must be from August next year, I think. Last year, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. So the question comes up pretty often, you know, especially since it's bottle conditioned, will it age really longer than that? I realize 18 months is what you, as a brewer, recommend, but does it develop positive characteristics with age, or does it drop off?
I have a theory that when you buy the beer, you have to drink it, and there are some exceptions, and those are like Gozer. I don't know if it's well known, but Gozer style beers, wild yeast beers. But for the rest, when you buy the beer, just drink it.
Barley wine.
Yeah, okay. But also this beer, when you buy it, just drink it.
But in my experience, like, okay, drink it as fresh as possible.
Yeah.
But for me, a Duvel can age until 12 months. and then for me it's going down, but really slowly.
No,
And if you drink at 18 months, it's going to be all right. But like the best is like between the first and the 6 months for me.
That's what we were explaining. It's a delicate beer, so you will taste all flavors directly. There is no camouflage. So when you buy it, you drink it. But if people would like to store it in the cellar and they like it after 3 years, so they can do it. We are not there to stop them. But in my opinion, you have to drink it.
It's also personal taste.
It's a personal taste.
It's personal taste. If you like fresh, hoppy, clean taste, drink it right away. If you like more like a little like, I would say it like, aged beer or like some more, like licorice aged for 2 years and you will get it. But maybe after 5 years it will taste like sherry, but maybe then you better buy a sherry bottle. But okay, they do what they want. In my opinion, you have to drink it the freshest as possible. Yeah, but for most of the beers, drink it as like a German saying.
It's almost like a champagne, which is bottle conditioned also, that, it's a lighter colored beer. Now your hoppy beer, and I know we're going to get into your triple hop Citra next. Will it keep for 18 months?
Yeah, also. Yeah. I know it's with the hops, it's a little bit more difficult maybe, but we have the same date. Yeah.
Okay. Now I know there's been some questions about we've talked about bottled beers, but you also have Duvel in kegs.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yes.
How do you bottle condition, or how do you condition in the keg?
That's mainly the same thing as in the bottle. So that's not the difficult part of. But first maybe because maybe you have to explain a little bit more about the Duvel single that's existing, which is on the market, I think, already like 8 years, maybe 6 years, I don't know. So the Duvel single is a Duvel with a lower alcohol content, and it's you can serve it on tap, the normal regular tap. And then there is the Duvel, this Duvel, because I still have plenty of things to explain about this Duvel, but one of the most important things is the carbonation. And the carbonation is like 8.5 grams per liter CO2. That's very important for a Duvel. If you would drink a flat Duvel, it would not taste like it should taste. And so we think it's very important to have a high carbonation level. And that's also the reason why it took so long time before we had a Duvel, a real Duvel, this Duvel on tap. Because we want to preserve and we want to have the carbonation level in this Duvel also when you pour it from a tap. Just to explain, I don't know how it is in US, but in Belgium, and I think the physics are the same in US, the Duvel, when you have a beer on draft, there is 5 grams per liter CO2. When you have too much, it will foam and there will no beer coming out. For Duvel 8.5, it was not possible to put it on a regular tap. So we were working on it like several years, and we came with a system where it was possible to pour a Duvel with a high carbonation level of 8.5, and that was key to put it on tap, and so we did. But there are some things very important. 3 things, I think. Temperature, it has to be very cool.
2 degrees, I guess, no?
Yeah, 2-3 degrees. Yeah. That's very cool. Then you have also, what's important is the tubing between the keg and the tap point, the diameter and the length of it. And that's very important. So that's key for the Duvel on tap. Also,
so it's pretty well a special tap line. Is it a special faucet also?
It's even the tubing. It's a one-way tubing. mainly because of hygienical reasons, because we don't know how to clean that. So we replace it every time with a new keg. Also, the keg is very important. It's another type of keg with another, how do you call it, connector. Yeah. Other specifications because of the pressure. You have to put 2.2, 2.3 bars on it to also to get it on the tap, but mainly to have the, how do you call it, the equilibrium pressure. That it will not degas. So that's very important. And that's, you have to know that we have a patent on that, not a patent on the idea, but on the tubing and the way of doing that.
It was really like the first Duvel on tap. It was like a real sensation in Belgium. My father is like 75. He's been a Duvel drinker all his life. And I know I took him to the brewery.
Yeah.
And okay, very nice. I called the brewery that was coming. They gave me a nice reception, and it was like he was like so happy. It was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I think, and he was so happy that he gets like a Duvel from tap. And for him, it was like, no, Duvel should be in a bottle.
That's true.
And then he tasted it, and then he compared it, and he was like, wow, this is quite good. And he was so happy. Out of the Belgian public, they were really like freaking out, like Duvel on tap. It's not possible.
Honestly, it's a really strange sensation. When I was pouring my first Duvel from the tap, we were investing a lot of energy to show the people how they should pour a perfect Duvel from the bottle in the glass. And then you have a Duvel on tap. It's like, it's not in the first feeling is very strange.
Yeah, I messed up mine.
Yeah.
I was tapping first time a Duvel, and I completely messed up.
Well, guys, I'm ready. You pumped up my ego so much. I'm ready to try another pour.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
Okay.
So we've got a triple hop Citra. I thought we'd jump in the overhead camera, and maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Okay. I like about the label. If you can, yes, that's great. You see there in the right upper corner, you see the year. That's the year where the brewery started. Oh, and if you can count well, you will notice that we will have an anniversary this year, the 150th anniversary. So that will be, this year is a special year. So we also made a special beer for it. Not available in US right now, but they told me that in US they will celebrate it with special glass and do some special parties in on-trade sector. So it will not pass like that. So that's always a nice thing to know.
But maybe tell about like how it was created, because like it was actually a bet.
Yeah. Okay. Will you tell?
I can tell it. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, Duvel they created was one shot. Like Duvel Tripel was one shot, like a one shot beer once in a lifetime.
It was with Amarillo, huh?
Was Amarillo?
Yeah.
Okay, it was Amarillo. And then actually, like there's like a beer club, like the Lambic Stumpers. Don't try to repeat me because it's like it's a beer club in Belgium from Botland to drink Heus. And like the president of the beer club was saying to Michel Moorschat, like
it is a real beer lover.
He's a beer lover. He's a beer lover.
Yeah.
So, and he was saying, can somebody explain what this thing is on the back?
That's a D from Duvel.
I got the D part.
It's an artistic way to show a D.
It is very creative, very creative,
and also the fact that there are 3 hops. You have in the Duvel, because I wanted to tell a lot about the Duvel that I didn't tell already, but in the Duvel there are mainly 2 hops, the Sassas and the Steering Golding, and with the Duvel triple hop we add a 3rd hop in dry hopping.
Okay. But Gary says it's a hop devil. Does that work?
Yeah, that's okay for me.
Yeah, Joseph says Hydra. Okay. So should I? Have you guys got the triple hop, or do I get
Yeah,
to pour
we
that
have.
one by myself?
Yeah, you can. It's your turn now, eh?
Oh, okay. Pressure's on.
Thank you. Merci.
All right. So don't adjust your camera. There we go. We'll get the focus right. All right. So I'm gonna put this up to the mic. Hopefully you can hear the open.
Yes, great,
Perfect.
Excellent.
I will do mine too.
Okay, so the same routine, 45 degrees.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get over here.
Luckily, we do also 45 with this one. Yes.
Okay. Oop, touched the glass.
Very good, Doug.
Nice. Very natural.
Look at that head. Wow. That is gorgeous. Very nice. Pull that back so we can see the whole thing. I'm going to move that to this side so I can grab that in just a moment.
So this beer is a little bit more cloudy, of course, because of the dry hopping. But maybe it's interesting also to tell the people that the color of the beer is maybe not a lot of people are thinking about that, but it's a really pale color for such a beer with such a high alcohol content. For the insiders, it's 6 EBC. If you would pour this beer in a Pils beer glass, a glass with a smaller diameter, it will be very, very clear. You say like a very pale. Pale, yes. So that's a characteristic of Duvel, that we really have a very pale Duvel. And the brew house is. We developed it in 2008. It's really made for having this low color. So we do everything to avoid thermal load, thermal heat at the maximum. So we try to have that reduced at the maximum. For example, when we cool the beer, we have no whirlpool. We cool it at 650 hectoliters an hour. That's really very fast. No whirlpool, directly from the boiling to the cooler. And that's only to prevent that it picks up color. And that's very important for a Duvel.
Wow. That is good.
Yeah, and when you put this to your nose, you really, you really smell the Citra, you know?
Oh. I could smell it before I picked up the glass. It's filling the room.
It is. So that's the third hop. So every time, every Duvel has 2 hops, Saaz and Styrian Golding. And also important to say is that those, in fact, we are, the bitterness of a Duvel, a regular Duvel, is coming only from aromatic hops. So if you or reading your textbook or my book at the university about beer, that's not a thing you should do. But you should add the aromatic hops at the end and the bitter hops in the beginning. But with the Duvel, we put the aromatic hops in the beginning, just like bitter hops, and we like the bitter or beer with the aromatic hops. So because we are really... we think that this is giving like a bitterness. This is what's not harsh, or it gives like a smooth bitterness. It's 32 EBU, but it gives a smooth bitterness, very balanced, and it's very important thing in making a Duvel is the hops that are in. So it's our aromatic hops. That's very important.
So aromatic and almost no bitterness at all in compared, to your regular Duvel.
But the aroma is coming from the Citra, of course. So, but when we compare to the regular Duvel, that's the basics, in fact.
Don't be swinging out in this one.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Is it the same grist?
Yes, but of course it's 9.5 instead of 8.5. So we have per liter of water more malt, of course, but the recipe is the same. Two things are different. So we have more alcohol, so a little bit more malt, but the recipe is the same. And then the bitterness is also a little bit higher, also because of dry hopping, of course. The regular Duvel is 32, and this is 40 EBU. It's 9.5.
No, I'm afraid I got some foam.
You poured it.
I did. And there's still a lot of it there. Look at that guy. Wow.
Yeah, looking gorgeous.
Oh, that was embarrassing, guys.
No.
Okay, we're almost at the bottom of the hour, and you have 19 questions. So we want to get into that pretty soon. Okay. So just as we start to wrap things up, and Luke, I'd love to hear from you first, and then Sven, if you would.
Of course.
How would you just summarize? We're talking about behind the scenes and how things are done to brew this 150-year-old beer that is just so iconic. How would you summarize it?
For me,
yeah,
I'm not
Pressure's
a brewer.
On.
I don't brew in the brewery, but like I told, for me, in Belgium, Duvel, you have a few beers in Belgium, they're icons. And there are also safe beers. And a safe beer for me is you can, everywhere you go in Belgium, you can order a Duvel. It's always good. It's going to be good beer. It's going to be in great shape, and you can enjoy it. And there are for me like 5, 6, maybe 7 beers in Belgium that does the same for me. And Duvel is one of them. And that's for me the secret of Duvel. Every time you drink it, it's going to be good. And I don't know how they do it, but they are managed to do it for. I started drinking when I was too young, probably, but I drink Duvel all my life, and I always like it. Does I drink Duvel every day or every week? No, but once in a while I drink a Duvel, and I enjoy it. And that's just the secret of Duvel for me. The balance, Sven called it neutral. I don't like the word neutral.
No, yeah.
But for me, it's like balance, and that's Duvel. It's almost too perfect. And now I rest my case.
Okay.
Well, now top that, Sven.
So he talked like
a consumer.
The consumer. Yeah. So I will explain like a brewer then. I went to other breweries before Duvel, and starting with Duvel and walking in Duvel Moordgat, I really learned a lot about beer. So I was in the brewery like 7 years, 8 years before, but I really learned a lot in Duvel. And what we didn't talk about already is the yeast. Yeast. I always say when you leave the Duvel brewery and you give all the recipes, you give it to the top 10 brewers of the world, but they don't know, they never brewed the Duvel, but you give the recipe. I'm sure that in 1 year the Duvel will not taste the same. So there is a lot of feeling, and you have to feel the beer. And also the yeast, because the yeast is the living part of the beer. You have to know the yeast, and you have to know what it does, because I said we like that when you put the yeast in it like this, we like that it's very cloudy and no particles. that's easy to say but difficult to do. And there is like not a year, but there is maybe a decade that we went from having particles to having now like a cloudy, nice yeast aspect. So let's say that, and I can I can talk like hours of this, but as a brewer, Duvel learned me a lot about how to make beer and how to make to make a good beer without hiding things, but just make a pure beer. And that's for me what the Duvel is, a pure beer.
All right. Well, and I will have to say, this is the first time I tried the triple hop, and
Okay.
it is stunning. I mean, I didn't think anything would top your standard Duvel, and I really was a little suspect. It almost sounded like you were being trendy, and I thought it was really going to be a Belgian IPA of sorts. And the aromatics and it is so smooth. I am just quite impressed. That is one mighty fine beer. I'm afraid I'm converted now. I'm not sure I'm going to go back to the original. I mean, it's really, and I'm telling you, in the audience, if you have not tried it, and I was reluctant to try it, I'll be honest, but it's it's impressive. I'm not sure I'll buy the other now.
Even try the Cashmere. It's even better for me.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one of those. So I'll have to open it. And we'll have to do that. We'll have to jump online one day and because I would love to get your help in describing it. And I'll try and not get all choked up about it either. Oh, that's embarrassing. Okay. It is the bottom of the hour, and I know a lot of people only allocate an hour for this, and I'm so appreciative of you taking the time and even an hour to do this. We've had a absolutely huge crowd. People from all over the world. Let's see, almost 530 people. What a great crowd. I appreciate that. So we always try and keep the first part of the program to an hour. You guys are 6 hours ahead of us here, so it's 12:30 a.m. in Antwerp.
Yeah, something
is
like
that right?
that. Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
We have to
So
stay here.
are you truly ready to take on 22 questions?
Of course, yeah.
Sure.
Of course.
Okay. All right.
We have to sleep in the brewery. We have a curfew, so.
I want to do that. Okay. So, and I know some people it is late, especially those of you that are in Europe. You can pop a question in and leave. And as long as these guys hang in there, we'll answer every question we can. So,
Okay.
and the neat thing is, if you ask your question, you'll actually get an email exactly when these guys are answering it. So if you need to go do something and want to look on your phone and see when they're answering your question, it'll pop up and say, Sven's answering your question right now. So Thank you. And we're going to switch over to the questions. Everybody has one vote on the questions. So if you want to look in there and vote one question up to the highest, we'll answer them in that order, how you want them voted up. So take a look at that. So we have 22. I will read off the first one. And wow, 12 votes for Bartek. Ooh, Bartek, I'm going to have to try and work on pronouncing your last name. Bartek Guzynski. I think that is correct. So he has a great question here. So Bartek asks, and he's directing this to you, Sven. Duvel has been brewed for many, many decades. What are the biggest challenges with maintaining a consistent taste and quality? Do you still use the same yeast? Do you need to adapt a mashing schedule, hopping rates, hop varieties, grain bills? And finally, does Duvel really taste the same as it did 30 years ago?
That's not
wow,
one
that's
question.
a lot in one question.
First of all, so that's not one question, but I think the answer to all questions is that Duvel thinks it's very important there are two things. There is tradition and there is innovation. So you have tradition. We have some very traditional things, like we have a long lagering maturation time. For Duvel, it's like 20 days. We have after the beer, the bottle conditioning, so the second fermentation, we have a cold storage. Nobody has it, but a cold storage of weeks. It's always been like that, and we like to have it like that. We don't want to change it. So there's tradition, which is very important. So tradition means that tradition is in fact that's the building block for the things you achieved, but it's also important for the quality that you want to maintain. That's tradition. And then you have innovation. We like to innovate, maybe not like every US brewery and come out with a new beer every week, but we like to innovate and try to work with suppliers and try to work and even invent new machines. And we have some examples of that for maintaining the quality. And that's the key. Quality is the key. And if I say that quality is the key, of course, everybody's thinking about quality of the beer. But there is, of course, also a very important quality of the people working. So you have to have the knowledge and the passion of the people that want to make your beer, and they have to make your beer, but the quality of the people is very important also. So we didn't change any recipe. Of course, and I have to admit maybe that this beer is not the same as the beer 30 years ago. Because at that time we didn't have all the techniques and all the installations that we have right now. I think 30 years ago the beer must have been much more darker. There was much more yeast in the bottle. So that's a thing that we also have from some customers that think that the beer is not fermented anymore because they don't see the yeast anymore. But there is just a little bit less yeast. We just put the yeast in that's necessary, and not too much, because the yeast that's too much, it's dying anyway. So it's giving enough flavor, a bad flavor to the beer. So we want to put the yeast that's just necessary to have the fermentation, and that's it. So we didn't change any recipe. We just trying to reach a higher quality level. I don't know if I answered most of the questions with that, but I think I put a general idea that the quality is first and most important.
Well, things change. I mean, I did manufacturing for 40 years before doing this, and suppliers change, and you're dealing with organic products, and they vary, and you've got to adjust for taste. And so, yeah, the recipe has to, I'm sure, be adjusted to get the taste consistent and then fit the marketing profile that you need.
I think you must put it in the way that the recipe didn't change. It's a process that changed a little bit, not the recipe. The recipe
was a poor choice. You've got to adjust probably proportions to some degree for the variations in the produce that you receive.
Yeah, when I was talking about thermal load before, like 10 years ago, it was not possible to cool down the wort as quickly as now. It was not possible to have these techniques that we have now. It was not possible for the yeast dosage. It's a system we invented ourselves, inline dosing yeast just before the filling of the bottle, and just enough yeast, not too much. There are like 3 security barriers to count the vitality, the amount of the yeast. All those things were not available like 10 years ago, or let's say 20 years ago. So you just have to apply the most modern techniques at the time, but the recipe hasn't changed.
Yeah, and actually I did look in the bottle. I took the camera and zoomed in there, and I really, there was if there was any yeast in there, it was invisible. Well, what a great question, and I know why it had 17 votes on it. So our next one comes from Steve. It's got 11 votes. So Steve asks, I heard Duval has a 3-hour step mash. Is that true? And if so, could you share what the temperatures and durations are?
3 hours. The mashing takes like, I think it's 3 hours. I don't think it's a great secret.
No. I even know it.
Yeah, it's I think a regular mashing sheen. Nothing special about that. We regarding the quality of the malt, we change a degree from 63 to 64, depending on the harvest. But no big deals there. No, no secret there.
Okay, so I think they also asked whether it was a step mash.
Yeah,
is it?
It is.
It
it's
is
a rather traditional mashing sheen. No special things about that. No.
Okay, and temperatures? Can you share that?
It are the regular temperatures,
Okay.
like 62, 64, 72. That's it. No secrets. If you want to make a good duvel and you want to, it's like I told, the yeast is important, but yeah, that you will not catch because
and
you
and
have
there's
the yeast
clearly
in the
not
bottle.
enough in the bottle.
Yeah, there is in the bottle, but if you want to propagate that. That's the thing I was trying to explain, but I cannot explain everything. But you have to know how to deal with the yeast, and that's the whole thing about the duvel. I think if you would ask me what's the secret thing about the duvel, that's the yeast, and I can give you the yeast, but you will not know what to do with it. Yeah, you will do what every brewer does with it, but it's a special thing.
Well, probably especially me. All right, we're going to move on from Steve's question. Bartek has the next question, and he's directed this one to you, Luke. He says, beer and cheese are the perfect pair. Can you tell us more about the best pairing partners? Which are easier to arrange at home? For example, what type of beer goes best with soft or hard goat cheeses or a Gouda-like hard cow cheese? What are the other ideas for beer pairing at home? I'm thinking about sausages, but also even olives, pickles. And let's just keep these simple for people who can't cook.
Actually, I think we need another session. We need another 2 hours to explain this. So I can talk days about it. But you have to know a few things. First of them, intensity. Like the food and the beer, intensity has to be the same. If you're drinking like, let's say like a big, strong Russian Imperial Stout with like a soft goat cheese, the strong Imperial Stout will just like overwhelming the goat cheese. If like a young goat cheese, very fresh, very easy, try a Pilsner or a wheat beer. Mm-hmm. It will be the perfect match. Secondly, also try the season. If you're pairing like in summer, you like a salad. In a salad, take a fresh beer. In winter time, it should be winter, it's like spring now in Belgium, take a Russian Imperial Stout and drink it with some game. It's going to be a perfect match. And like for everything, just try it. Try it at home and like error and try again and try again. Then you find the perfect match. And for me, you can also like to do a contrast. Like let's do things like a bitter beer with like a sweet dish. Or like other ways around, you can actually complete to each other, like sweet beer, Swedish. It's very easy, very simple, very easygoing.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can also say, look to the kitchen of your grandmother and try like all the classic stuff in Belgium. What we love to eat, we call it like a Flemish stew. It's like a beef with beer, onions, mustard, and then we like to have like a double, like a brown ale, a double brown ale from Belgium, little sweet, nice bitter touch. It's a perfect match. For Duvel, I've also perfect match. If you try the regular Duvel, not like the triple hop, like white fish with a cream sauce. It's fantastic. But for this, I can talk about days or even weeks about it. So
he wrote several books about it. So
yeah. Joss Lindsay says we really should do that and get Julia and Garrett Oliver also.
Oh yes, I would love it. I like Garrett. Take 4 hours then, at least.
Okay, good idea, Josh. I bet if anybody can help pull it off, it would be Luke and Julia and Garrett. I think that would be.
Of course, Julia. We need Julia. Yeah.
All right, that was a great question. We've got another question here. It actually comes from Josh, who we just heard from. How, if at all, has the acquisition and expertise of American breweries, such as Firestone Walker, Boulevard, and Brewery Ommegang, influenced innovation for brand families like Duvel?
That's a good question. We had Matt Brillenson, so the head brewer of Firestone, with us for almost a year in Belgium. So he came with his family, just living here in Antwerp. And that's one of the great things about the brewery. So he just asked, can I come and live with my family in Belgium? And it's like, okay, no problem. He just comes, and he was like, we had that was a nice thing. We had just started up our pilot brewery plant. And he was like involved there every time. He was the one who could brew the best. Now he's gone, and now we have to do it ourselves. So that I think there is surely a lot of influence. There are also the American beers coming to Belgium are also important. Like Thanks Heaven in Belgium is really a great hit.
Yeah, that's awesome beer.
Yeah, a lot of Belgian brewers, in fact, were a little bit, other Belgian brewers were a little bit like suspicious about Duvel Motorschap bringing American beers to Belgium. Like now it's more bringing Belgian beers to America.
That's right.
No, but also 10 years ago. But we were like bringing American beers to Belgium. They were a little bit like suspicious, like what are they doing, and is that okay? But we saw that it was really very nice.
It's
Tank 7
beer,
is it's a hit here. It's great. So
so Tank 7 is very popular in Belgium.
Yeah,
really? yeah.
It's here in the supermarket.
Yeah. It's all around, really.
Yeah.
It's a great beer. Yeah, sure. So there is some. It's important that we have within the group of breweries 3 American breweries. I think they're influencing us more than we think. And because we Belgian brewers are known as being very conservative and traditional, and that's true, except for this brewery here in the Koning. But I think they are influencing us a lot. Yes.
But I think that not only in the Duvel group, but like American craft brewers, they're influencing like the Belgian beer scene. Like now, like 10 years ago, I know I'm overdoing it. Like every brewer is brewing like a blonde beer, a double, and a triple. We call it the only trinity of beer in Belgium. And now a lot of breweries, they're brewing like IPAs, They're brewing in stouts, they're brewing like crazy stuff, and they are looking to the States. Sometimes just for export, but now more and more is for the local market. And I think it's a good thing. We have to learn from each other, and that's
you guys
important.
will have to help us because, and I was asking that question for a specific reason. If you happen to look at our poll, one of my last questions was upcoming topics as to what would be the most popular, and 76% of my audience, of our audience here, would like to know more about brewing saisons, and so I want to get a subject matter expert or two on for another program. So you guys help me think of really who you think the saison.
But to be honest, like if you have saison, you go to Dupont.
Yeah.
And yes, like Olivier de Rijkere, it's like the
first saison, huh? Dupont.
Yeah, Dupont is like its icon. It's like Duvel from Belgium strong ale.
Okay.
Like Dupont is the same for saison.
So Luke, are you volunteering to help me?
I can bring
sure.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure. My pleasure, yeah.
Okay, everybody's seen it.
I see there.
On my Scotsons, yeah.
I see there. Bartek Gudzinski is saying the same. Dupont.
Yeah, Dupont. Okay. All right.
Actually, I see the owner in 2 weeks. I will ask him.
Let's do it, buddy. All right. Well, that sounds like that's going to be our next one. Well, that was a great question there, Josh. I hope we completely answered it. So Kevin asked the next question. I hope to visit Belgium this summer. What is your advice to a beer traveler for making the most of a beer adventure there? What is the most unique experiences to try to plan on?
But actually, there's a good thing about Belgium. It's teeny. It's very, very small. If you hire a car, you can, in 1 week or 10 days, you can do a lot. And of course, like you told in the beginning of the session, like come to the Koning. You have like beer, bread, cheese, meat, 2 restaurants or 3.
We have
a tap room. So come to Antwerp, stay there. And then take like public transportation. You can go there in 1 hour without traffic jam. You are like without traffic jam, of course. You can go to almost every brewery in Belgium.
Yeah.
You can go there. You can see it. Like go to Brussels, go to Antwerp, go to Leuven, go to the southern part of Belgium. It's countryside. It's beautiful. There you have a lot of small breweries. Like the possibilities are just endless. Go to the Tripel, to the monks.
Yeah, maybe a good time of the year is the first weekend of September.
Oh yeah,
because then there is the
Belgian
beer weekend. So at that time, the weekend, the Grand Place of Brussels is occupied with mostly all of the Belgian breweries.
Yep.
You can just taste the beer there, and 1 meter next to it you have the other brewery, yeah. And then you continue like that. I always try to make the tour, but I never managed to do it. The first weekend of September is really great. Yeah. It's a great timing to come.
No, actually,
Luke, I know you can't really see the chat, but boy, it has lit up with that question. So, and I know Ruth is there in the audience, and I think she's ready to lead one of those tours. Maybe we can get us up a group up there and visit right where you are in that beer keg.
Yeah. Come back, Ruth. She's the best. She's the best.
Okay, we will move on for that because I think we could talk about that one for quite a while.
Yeah, it's like no, but really, Belgium is very small. Go to take a hotel in Brussels or Antwerp or Leuven, whatever you like. Hire a car and drive around, and you can see like 2 or 3 brewers in 1 day. It's perfectly possible.
Yeah.
All right, our next question has really been voted up high. It comes from Jacob. And Jacob says, is there a standard Duvel that we see in the U.S. that has such as Saaz and Styrian Goldings, or has that shifted to other hop varieties?
In the U.S., I don't know. I'm afraid I'm not well placed to answer the question. I don't know. I really can look. Do you know?
No,
We sometimes we don't know the answer
I don't
because I honestly I don't know in detail what's going on in US, so I cannot have a very good answer to that question. I'm afraid.
I think the question might be actually, should they taste any different?
No.
Okay.
Should they taste any difference?
No.
Yeah, from a US.
Yeah, okay. When the Duvel in US compared to here in Belgium?
Correct. In the bottle. Bottle to bottle.
Of course, there is the time of shipment. Yeah. So what I told, when the beer is ready, you have to drink it. So
but normally if you ship it in like good conditions, and you taste a Duvel from 6 months in the States or a Duvel 6 months in Belgium, and like it was like handled with care, then the difference should be very, very small.
The thing is that we don't know how the beer is shipped, so we don't choose where we are on the ship, above or under the sea line. So that can, it can.
Well, I'll help.
It can have an influence on the beer, of course, but normally you will taste the same as we taste here.
But it's also depending.
Well, whoever's game, I've got one that Sven you sent me, and then I can pick up one here at the store, and we'll just compare them.
That's a good thing.
Actually,
mine is there in it was 12 days, I think.
I think it was.
The other thing, I don't know how, but it takes some weeks, maybe a month or a month and a half to get there. And so
actually, I do import in Oregon, like the West Coast. It was quite fine. It was all right.
Okay.
Well, I think I know who to ask in the U.S., and I'll make sure I get the freshest one I can. and I'll tell you that you've dared me. Okay, Jacob, that's a really super question. We'll follow up on that one. I'm going to try and pronounce this name, and you have to apologize to me if I really screw this up, which I'm sure I will. Caprinans. Maybe it's Caprinans. It might be close. Caprinans. Right now, AB InBev's Victoria is emerging, and they are directly competing against Duvel, even though I don't think it's anywhere near the Duvel beer. Mm-hmm. But I was wondering how Duvel Moutgat is handling this competition from another major player in the beer world.
That's a good question. How should I answer it in a good way?
Diplomatic.
Yeah. I think Duvel is Duvel. I was just explaining. Put the top 10 brewers together and let them make a Duvel and after 1 year it will not taste like a Duvel. I think a Duvel we have what we have, and it's not. It's built. It's something that has been building up from years and years, from decades and decades. It's in the knowledge of the people that work there, and I don't think it's that easy to make like this a beer that can be just the same as this one. I think when you would analyze the Victoria, you will immediately see that it's not like a Duvel. It's not the attenuation will not be the same.
It's quite different.
It's like, not a yeast strain. I don't think it's. Are they really saying it's competing Duvel? I don't think so. And in my opinion, they are not competing Duvel because I don't find the similarities.
They call it a strong Belgian ale, like a strong Blond.
Okay, yeah.
And actually, it's in a category, but like a category of beers, you can be on one end and you on the other end. And for me, Victoria is on the left and Duvel is on the right, or other way around. I don't care, but they are extremes to each other.
Are you saying bring it on? Come on.
Yeah, because it's like it's decades of knowledge that's in it, and you will not get it like that. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it in another way.
Well, I think
it's of course when AB InBev is putting a beer on the market which fits into the category where the Duvel is in it. Okay, that's important for us. But as a brewer, technically, I would say that I know the R&D director there. He's a friend of mine. But yeah, okay, I don't think it's a Duvel.
All right. Now, it is almost the top of the hour. My system has a hard stop in 30 minutes, and we have 21 questions.
Whoa.
So our last 30 minutes is going to be rapid fire. So a little over a minute's all we've got for each question. So to try and get through all of them.
Okay.
So we're going to do this rapid fire. And so Michael, and thank you, Michael. He is, I know, one of our Patreon supporters. Is the Duvel branded glass truly the first tulip created for beer back in the 1960s?
I don't know, Luc.
Nope.
Nope. Probably not.
No.
Okay. So you saying you don't know, or it's...
No, it's not. No, it's there were tulips before.
Yeah.
But actually, this shape is a little different. But there were tulips before.
Yeah, I think there are 20 varieties on the tulip shape. Yeah. But it will not be.
No.
Have been the first one.
No,
but it's a huge tulip. I mean, it's the biggest one I've got in my glassware.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Then it's the first big tulip.
The first big tulip, maybe, but yeah. No, there were before, and the wine guys did before, so yeah.
Okay. So the shape is did not originate with Duvel.
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
No, they adapted it, but
no.
Duvel adapted.
Good question. All right.
Yeah.
Francisca says the next question. Hi, can you talk about your yeast fermentation profile and your conditioning process? And then he's got the rest in French, which I cannot read.
I will look at it. Wait. Okay. Can you talk about your yeast? He's saying the same thing in French. So the yeast fermentation profile, it's rather easy. So we cool at the wort at 20 degrees, and we have a free rise of temperature to 26 degrees. I think that's a good temperature, because if you go higher, you will stress your yeast too much. Maybe you can go, but it's all depending on your yeast, of course. You can go to 29 degrees, but okay, Duvel is from 20 to 26. We cool down. A good fermentation of this beer is like 5 days, not too much, 5 days. I know a lot of home brewers have a fermentation of 2 weeks even, but maybe that's because of they don't have the equipment to really measure it. But 5 days, 26 degrees, very important. Home brewers will not be able to do that, but we have a fermentation temperature control with a delta T. It's difficult. Maybe 1 minute is not much, Doug, you know. So we try to have the beer at 26 degrees during the fermentation by cooling the CCT, the tank, with a temperature which has with water which has a temperature less than 10 degrees difference from the fermentation temperature. So 16 degrees, but we can also adapt it. But we don't cool with 0 degrees. So we don't maintain the temperature with 0 degrees, because that will stress too much the yeast. And that's a very important thing. Not to stress the yeast, never. Also, of course, not during fermentation. So we like to have the temperature controlled by a mild temperature. Yeah. I don't know. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I know you.
Yeah.
That's why.
But don't stress the yeast but I know it's not possible at home. For example, if you want to cool down your, you want to maintain your temperature at 26, you do it with 0 degrees. I don't know what, but delta T as minimal as possible. So, and then we go down and we have, we cool down in 2-3 days. We are at 0 degrees, -1, and then we stay there for 20 days. 20 days, that's really that's a lot. It's a lot of maturation time, but that's the thing we do. That's like I was talking about traditions. That's the thing we will not change. Sorry for the long answer.
No. It was very thorough, and I appreciated it. And I know Francis also appreciated it. That was good. So our next question was actually even more popular. My apologies to Faye. My system screwed it up. But actually, this is a great question, Faye, because I did not know about this until somebody alerted me to it a day or two ago. So how different in taste is the Duval Golden Ale and the Duval 6.66? And are there any plans to ship 6.66 to Brazil? Please, we would love to taste the new beer.
Who is asking the question?
Me too.
Is it Fernanda asking the question?
It is Faye.
Yeah, that's we know her. She's been here. So, the 6.6 is it's available in Belgium. Yeah, it's for the 150th anniversary. What was the question? The difference? Yeah. So the obvious difference is that the alcohol. Thank you, Robbie. The alcohol volume is less. So it's instead of 8.5, it's 6.66, and it's also dry hopped. So we use the regular hops, Saaz and Styrian Golding, but you also use four other hops. So in total there are 6 hops, and we use 4 other hops to dry hop it. If you ask the question which hops are it, we will not tell you. So that's a secret. But we use 6 hops, and it's dry hopped, and there's also a little bit of orange peel in it. So that's just a small note to get the balance right. 1 minute, Doug.
Well, we ought to do a tasting on it sometime, because I would love to compare them. I'm anxious to try it too, and I think my audience, Jacob says we need that in Oregon.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry. Also, one important thing, it's low in bitterness. So it's only, if I am right, 18 EBU. So compared with 32, it's the bitterness is much lower. But it fits very well with this Duvel.
I love the name. It is a great play on words. That is really brilliant marketing. And by the way, grab Robbie. Josh says he should pop in and make an appearance. Now, he's already made one appearance, if anybody saw the box opening. Robbie, come on, pressure's on, buddy.
Hi, guys.
Thank you, Robbie.
He has a bunch of empty glasses there. Yeah. He's drinking all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, Faye, great question. All right, so we've got about 23 minutes left, and it looks like we have 17 questions.
Okay.
Chris actually has 2 questions, so I'll ask them one at a time. Who came up with the great name, Duvel, and in what year was it?
You know it?
The year I don't know, but it's in the 20s?
Yeah, 1918.
No, not 1918. It was in the 20s.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Robbie is saying 23.
Yeah, 23.
So it must be 23.
20s? No. Actually, it was like, the first time it was brewed, actually it was like a dark beer. and like was it the postman?
No,
or
no, the shoemaker.
The shoemaker of the village, like a brewer, or taste my beer. And actually, the shoemaker was saying, it's a devil. But in local dialect, a duvel, so they called it duvel, and that's the story.
That's it.
Quite an easy.
Very simple.
Less than 1 minute.
Yeah. Good.
It was, and David answered the question. He said it was 1923, so that's the same thing Robbie said, isn't it?
Yeah.
Robbie is always
Robbie's
right.
the best, yeah. next time you invite Robbie.
Second question is, what is the maximum shelf life and ideal time to enjoy it? I know you've touched on that already.
I'm looking at Sven, he's a brewer.
Yeah, that's a difficult one.
It's depending on your personal taste also.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, it's
as fresh as possible.
Yeah,
fresh as possible.
And also, all the conditions are very important. Do you have it at in your fridge or in your cellar or out in the sun or I don't know?
Yeah.
But wouldn't your triple hop and we all know hopped beers will diminish quicker than are the aromatics in the triple hop like this really good for quite a while?
Yeah. Of course, after 2 years, you will not have what you're tasting now is really like an explosive aroma that when you open the bottle, it comes to your nose.
Yep.
Of course, that will not be the same after 2 years or after 1 year. That's obvious.
So the triple hop is going to go down faster than your original Duvel.
Sure.
Yeah, but for instance, in Belgium, there are people, and they love aged Duvels.
Yeah.
There are really a lot of people. They love I've used from 5 years in my cellar. I'm like, oh my god, don't open it for me, please don't do it. But they like it. So if they like it, it has to be good. So it's like personal taste.
Yeah.
And that's the most important for me.
But if you want it to be the way the brewer intended, fresher is better.
Yeah, sure. When you buy it, you have to drink it. But of course, when we ship it, normally you have to drink it. But it maybe takes 2-3 months. And
Actually, there's a German saying: beer should never leave the brewery. And in a sense, they're right.
Yeah, sadly, that's true. But when you bottle condition it, I mean, that really helps preserve the beer, doesn't it?
It helps. Yeah. Sure. But okay.
And especially with your low yeast volume that you put in there that makes it so you can't even see it in the bottle. That's fantastic.
Surely, but it's helping a lot. That's true. Yeah.
So you do everything you can to make it good, is what I'm hearing.
We do everything we can. Yes, that's true. Also, for example, when we bottle and we put the yeast, we bottle this beer in the same conditions as a Pils beer. So no oxygen at all, or the lowest we can, because we know that the yeast will pick up the smallest amount of oxygen. So we are really trying. Before, let's say like 10 years ago, a lot of brewers thought that it was necessary. It was not important that there was no oxygen or oxygen present in the beer, but we think, and it's true, you have to avoid at any step possible, you have to avoid the oxygen after your fermentation. That's for sure. Also in the bottle, for bottle fermentation also.
I tell you though, I've been sipping on these guys. They've been out for approaching over an hour and a half. And I think that is the true test of a beer when it comes up to room temperature after being out that long and it's still delicious. That really is phenomenal, and gorgeous lacing there on the sides of the glass. Look at that, very nice. Okay, 16 questions, and we've got probably about 18 minutes. Mm-hmm. So. I'm especially interested in this next one from Manuel. He asks, I remember that the triple hop was sort of an experiment some years ago. Yeah. And because of its popularity, it remained as a regular brand. Any chances this will happen with your other experimental brands like the barrel aged or the 6.66?
Maybe, I don't know. It's true that it was an experiment, and in fact, that's a nice story. We made the beer. Sorry,
we touched it already a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. But we made the beer, and then there was. You said it.
Yeah, there was like a beer club, a beer organization, and they said to the owner, Michel Moortgat, if like 10,000 signatures, or 10,000, or 10,000 likes on Facebook.
At that time, long time ago.
Yeah, many years ago, 10,000 likes on Facebook was a lot. You're going to brew the beer, and Michel Moortgat say yes, and you get like 20,000.
Yeah. It was written. The contract was written on a beer coaster in the pub, of course.
Yeah. Actually, Michel Moortgat kept his word, and the beer is brewed.
Yeah. But if it will happen with, I don't know, maybe.
Let's say 3 million likes.
Yeah.
Take a coaster, Sven, and sign it.
You just have to have a lot of followers, and then it will be okay.
Okay. Well, you guys have really intrigued me with the 6.66 now. Again, I applaud you for your marketing. That was brilliant. Edward, he is one of my supporters, and I appreciate that, Edward. And if I've overlooked anybody, my apologies. There's a lot of folks in the group that help keep these programs going each month. Is there a certain maltster that provides your malt? What hop varieties are used?
For Duvel, we only have one malt. It's a pale malt, Pils malt, but we like to change the suppliers. So in one Duvel there are 3-4 suppliers. That's just for quality reasons. We don't have one supplier because we want to be sure, when there would be a problem with one, we have 3 others. But anyway, in a normal Duvel there would be normally 3 different malt suppliers, at least, maybe 4. Hops are rather simple. It's Saaz or Steven Golding, so that's all coming from the same direction. Yep. I tried to respect your 1 minute.
Yes, you did. Good question, Edward. Thank you. Thomas has next question. Does 18 months of shelf life start from the bottling day, before re-fermentation in the bottle and conditioning, or does shelf life start after the 8 weeks of warm and cold bottle conditioning once it's released from the brewery?
No, it really starts from the bottling date. So when the beer is bottled, then we put the date on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is before all the temperature cycling in the bottle, right?
Yeah. Before the re-fermentation in the warm cellars, before the cold storage. Yeah. So that's before. Yeah.
I think that's true. At least I think of Sierra Nevadas. Also, I'm familiar a little bit with their process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the logical way to do it, because the beer is bottled at that time, so the beer is in the bottle at that time. So I think when you're honest, you have to put that date.
We've got a question here on your triple hop and how it came into existence.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah, the triple hop Citra. How did it come into existence?
That's because of a little bit it was not the intention to make a permanent beer of it. Now we have one, but after the voting for the relaunch of the Duvel triple hop, every year we changed the hop. And I think in 2016 we did another competition. we brought out a 6-pack with 6 Duvels, very nice, and they were numbered, so you could not see. So we had at that time 6 different hops we were using in the dry hopping, so for the Duvel triple hop, and we had them collected in a 6-pack, and we numbered the bottles, so you couldn't see what hop was in the bottle. And then we asked the people, which one do you like? Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they could vote. And out of that vote, there was a Duvel Citra coming out as the best one. And so after that, it became like the permanent Duvel triple hop version, the Citra version.
What a great story, though. I mean, that's a wonderful way to do it.
It's also a damn difficult thing to do in production, you know.
I'll bet it is.
Different beers in a 6-pack. People don't understand that. You really have to be in it to know that.
Okay, so we've got about 13 minutes left and 16 questions. So what I would encourage, I don't know that we're going to get to the last one. So if you haven't used your vote and you see a question you want asked, push up the question so we don't run out of time. Yeah, I pay for 120 minutes. So I promise you guys, when we hit 120 minutes, it's just off. So I don't want it to be unceremonious. And I know you're glad to hear that. All right. So we won't waste any time. So again, put your votes in so we can get those most popular questions that are last. Chris asks, if you've got no whirlpool, how is the hot break material separated? Do you have enough adjuncts and hop extract to let out the bottom of the fermenter? Or do you have a filter or a centrifuge in between? So the question is really, how do you get the hot break material out of your wort?
Yeah, so it's very easy, a very easy answer. We have 2 centrifuges behind the boiling vessel. So we don't have a whirlpool, but we have 2 centrifuges that allows us to really go really very fast to the cooling of the wort. So we do it with centrifuges. In fact, we have a lot of centrifuges at Duvel. I cannot count them. So also in the filtration, we never worked with Kieselguhr. Also all the time centrifuge. So I know all about centrifuges. But we don't have time to talk about that, luckily.
But centrifuge is the answer.
Yeah, a centrifuge. Yeah, 2.
Ruth says, thank you all for another great event. Mark says, thank you, gentlemen. Gloria was gone for an hour, and she's impressed that you're still on.
You're tough guys.
Thomas asks, like many Belgian beers, does Duval use a sugar syrup in the boil?
Yeah, we do. So we add the sugar, not in the boil. Yeah, but then I'm telling too much. If you put it in the boil, you will have a much darker beer. But we use sugar, yes.
Okay. To lighten the body.
Yeah, no, sugar for having the alcohol afterwards. It's not 100% malt. The extract is not coming 100% from the malt. There is also sugar involved. Yeah.
Daniel has the next question. Do you use the same yeast for the fermenter as in the bottle? And if so, what are the characteristics of the 2 different yeasts?
We use the same yeast. That's true. But you have to know, when you put the yeast in the bottle, you have to see that the yeast is in optimal condition, also fresh. I cannot explain this like this, but it's the same yeast. But like I told before, if you pick this yeast and you want to try to brew with it, I think after 3 times it will go wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that an answer?
It's an answer, yeah. It's a quick answer, less than a minute. So.
Well, you've said all along the yeast is really, if there were a secret and a difficult thing to handle, it's the yeast, and it sounds like it's a unique thing in the fermenter, and it's a unique thing in the bottle, even though it's the same yeast.
It's the same yeast. Yeah, okay. There is only one yeast strain. Yeah.
So that was an excellent question. That's
There
what
was
we could do a whole live stream on, I suspect.
Yeah, I think so. If I
Yeah.
can just add, so
Please.
for example, we have also top cropping. You know,
Yep.
decades ago, the brewers they were harvesting the yeast from horizontal fermentation vessels from the top. They were and it makes sense because that's the best yeast. It's the most vital yeast that comes up. So they were cropping, harvesting from the top, and that's also what we do. We have different techniques to harvest the yeast, but that's one. During fermentation, the top of the fermentation vessel is connected to a yeast vessel, and because of fermentation, yeast comes up and it goes from the fermentation vessel to the yeast vessel. During fermentation, like naturally, and because we think that's the best yeast that there is, and with that yeast, we continue the process. That's a thing. That's like I told, tradition and innovation. Those things go together hand in hand. That's very important it's very important for Duvel yeast strain.
I think Daniel struck a nerve. What a great question. Okay, again, vote up your questions. We have about 6 minutes and 12 questions. So we will jump into the next one. And this is an interesting one from Matt. Even though I love Duvel, can you share your top 5 other Belgian beers?
No.
I can do it.
No, I think you're and then so you look, but I think every beer has his time and his surroundings, and I don't know what beer is about a feeling, and when you want something, there is no top 5 or top 10.
No, there is actually season, our feeling, time of the day, time of the year. If I'm eating, I'm not eating, the setting. But if I can mention, beside Duvel, one beer, it's going to be Westmalle Tripel.
Ah, that's a good choice.
Really, actually,
Yeah.
Westmalle Tripel, Duvel, it's like they are playing in the same league.
Yeah.
Top league, Champions League.
Sure.
Luke, I'm impressed. You were ready for that question, buddy. Now, I see one there that I want to ask right quick, just because I saw some open fermentation at Sierra. David asks, is fermentation open or closed? Just a quick answer.
It are CCTs. We were thinking about, but it's a project that's not going on right now. But now it's all vertical tanks closed. No horizontal open things. No.
Okay. Sorry to skip ahead of Thomas, but I thought that was a really good question. So Thomas has the next question, and this may end up being our last one, is if it's of any length. Does any of the breweries from Duvel Mogat family outside of Belgium, for example, Omergang or Boulevard, use the yeast from Duvel?
No. Not that I know. No.
Okay. You don't share.
We don't share.
All right. Looks like we do have time for at least one more question, if we do it quick like this. So John has the next one. Have you ever done or considered doing a legacy brew using genetically recreated barley, hops, and yeast from 1871?
Oh, no, we never thought about that, but it's a good thing to think about it.
Quick answer there.
Yeah.
Jacob has the next one. Are you using the same yeast for, well, I think this has been answered already. So Jacob, we're going to go on with this one. And all right, so Chris has the next one. Is Duvel single in the can the same beer as regular Duval, except it is not re-fermented in the bottle?
No. There is the recipe is the same, but there is a dry hopping touch on it, so it's not really the same. But it started really as the same beer, except for the malts ratio to the water. But it started like that, but it changed, I think, 6-7 years ago. It's not really the same, no.
All right. Well, I don't like unceremonious ends, especially when you guys are up so late. We will literally end in about 90 seconds. But I did want to thank you. I know it is awfully late. It's 1:30 in the morning where you are?
Something like this, but we're live and thinking, so.
Well, we've been planning this a while. Luke, thank you so much for doing this. Sven, thank you so much for your time. Robbie, you're back there in the back. I appreciate you setting it up and even jumping online and doing a live stream right quick. Thank you for getting this all pulled together. Henry says cheers to all and thank you. Eric says keep going. It's only 4:30 p.m. here. Chris says thanks for staying up late with us. Edward O'Neill says great program. Fernandez says thank you guys. Great night. Hugs from Brazil. Hope to see you soon. Lots of applause, guys. And I know you can't really hear the applause, but we really do appreciate it. We know you're up late. A lot of interest in your beer. It is delicious beer. I'm sorry it was so good I got choked up over it, but I am really impressed with this triple hop. But you notice without 4 inches of foam in it, I haven't gotten choked again. So
cheers.
Yes. So cheers. I do appreciate it very much. Thank you, audience. Thank you, Patreon supporters. You guys keep us going. And our next one is also continue on Belgian beers. So look forward to that coming up in March. And after that, and it sounds like we're going to be talking Saisons, right, Luke? Is that next?
Of course.
All right. Thank you very much. You guys have a good evening. Everybody else, thank you so much. Gloria says thanks, Doug. Chris says cheers. Fernanda says thanks. So good night, everyone. You guys have a safe trip home, unless you're going to stay there in the beer cave. All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you. Good night.